Welcome to Boomer Bongo Boulevard. I'm Mike Just Mike. Along with me is Ron Just Ron. This is episode number 42, if you count all of our podcast episodes plus our YouTube episodes that we've begun to add on. And Ron, we just had our biggest hit with our ghost stories, which should get another big boost around Halloween.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. And I wish the video quality was better and it wasn't just me.
I
somehow had our first big glitch too.
First big glitch, but that's the one, you're just listening to that one anyway. You're just sitting there listening to the ghost stories that were real ghost stories, not something we read somewhere for the most part. I mean, we had one or two that I had students submit to me over the years that just sent chills down my spine, but that was a good one. And so look it up, folks, if you haven't seen the ghost stories one, particularly if you like ghost stories, definitely look that one up and recommend it to your friends, because there are a couple of chilling ghost stories that actually happened to us and to people we knew. So these are not the ones that we didn't go in some ghost story book and read and just pretend.
And I just remembered another one yesterday. It was at a place I used to work. It was a retirement home where as you can imagine, people die pretty regularly.
Yeah.
And I never saw this, but I was told by a lot of people that they had seen like a figure that looked out of this one particular window, and they knew that there was nobody that lived there.
Yeah.
For a fact. It was like, is somebody getting in there and looking out? I don't know, but said it was sure weird because it was always about the same time of night that figure would be looking out that window. So see, I was never up there at night, but
Oh, you can look at almost any window at night, and it just kind of creeps you out. Just kind of imagine what would happen if somebody looks out. Now, those are common. The looking out the window ghost stories are common. Doesn't mean that people didn't really see them or something wasn't going on, but those will creep you out. Was it you that we pulled that trick? We tricked you into looking out the window, or was it our sister? And she was looking out the window, and one of us was hiding outside the window and just stuck a hand up.
That wasn't me. What y'all did to me was Randy hid in the closet with the Frankenstein mask, and I stood and went catatonic, jerking. And Randy thought he'd destroyed me.
Hey, the hand one though, I think it was our sister.
Yeah.
Whoever it was, they jumped about. We're lucky they didn't jump through the roof, because we had a low roof in the old house. Anyway, but so much. Hey, Halloween is just
moving on.
Moving on. And our topic today is Saturday morning. Saturday morning cartoons couldn't be much more different than the hauntingly, ghostly topic that we finished up last week. But by the way, and so now that we've established our topic, let me go down a side road. Not even a side road, but I walked into the Mart of Walls today. Okay, today is September the 25th.
Yes.
2024, year of our Lord.
Yeah.
And September 20th, it's not even Halloween yet. It's not even close to Halloween. Halloween's more than a month away.
Yeah.
Christmas trees.
Christmas.
Oh, they're just skipping Halloween. They've got the costumes, but Christmas trees up in a whole section, and Christmas decorations. So we got plenty of time to do some Christmas shopping.
Oh, yeah, they don't even bother.
Just get it done. Just get it done. I'm going to take my $11 Christmas budget and go to town here pretty soon. All right, Ron. So we were talking Saturday morning. Does it get any better when you were a kid? I really feel for. I think I'm just getting a signal that I disconnected. I hope can you hear me still? Ron, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, and you're very jerky, and it keeps saying reconnecting.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm hoping that it's downloading from your end, but we shall see. Yeah.
We will.
You may have to see me totally not reacting. That's probably happening.
Well, you could. I could see the reconnecting as well, so that's why I thought maybe nothing was picking up. But so inside baseball as we work our way through this, but hopefully you can edit all this together. But going back to what I was saying, Saturday morning, kids now don't have Saturday morning. I mean, they get out of school for Saturday morning. They do kid things on Saturday morning, but it's probably playing video games or something that we would.
They don't have a Saturday morning lineup as such anymore.
No. And we keep going back to those 3 networks, but boy, only having 3 channels or 4 channels just was a huge, it really influenced the way that we got media when we were kids. And never was it more true than on Saturday morning, because those networks devoted Saturday morning to kids home from school for the weekend, watching, just like Sunday mornings. Sunday mornings had their own lineups too, with these with religious dramas.
Yeah.
And but, you know, of course, kids aren't really interested in that.
No.
That was more adult fare. But wow, it really influenced us. And I guess I'm getting melancholy here a bit thinking about it. But you were talking about Underdog, though. Was Underdog your favorite Saturday morning cartoon?
It was one of my favorites, as you can probably see. There's no need to fear. Underdog is here. And he's even
show all
got
that stuff.
his special ring.
Where did you get that ring?
If I can open it with his power pill inside that he had to take to get his special superpowers to go against the likes of Simon Boz Siniston. I don't have CAD, but I have Underdog.
They have great names.
But I love the. It's even got the little background here of the city in the little. I kept it from the box. You know, it's got the background and everything where you can display.
That's a little blurry. Hold that up for a minute more. It's a little blurry.
Okay.
Just really still the background that Underdog flew through. Where did you get that? Did you buy that?
I can't remember what store I got there. I just saw it and I was like, I gotta get that. Yeah, I bought it years ago.
The ring looked like something you'd send off cereal box tops for.
Yeah, I got that. And you know, it kind of opens at the back, so you know, I think I can actually squeeze it onto a little finger, maybe.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of sort of. Yeah.
So what was?
But yeah, I loved Underdog. It was just, I don't know, I liked the rhyme, and I thought that was funny. And watching it now, you know, as an adult, one of the funniest things about the show is the fact that, you know, of course, when I was a kid, I didn't get this, but Underdog, when he's saving the day, he ends up destroying half the city almost every time. You know, it's just like leaves a swath of destruction everywhere. You know, and of course, as an adult, you find that hilarious. You know, and I like that too, because the adults get something out of it when the kids are watching it for a whole different reason.
They did that. They do that in the Marvel movies.
Yeah, now, I know.
At some point, you just start beginning to think, okay, is it really worth destroying half a city to stop one monster from kidnapping Sue Storm? This just
you kind of come down to the conundrum of you know, should I, you know, that police go through, should I chase this guy and risk killing a family, or, you know, let them go and figure out something, you know, get their tag number and catch them later, you know?
That's real life stuff. You wonder. You see some of these chase videos on that you know, from police recorders, you know, from a police car that's been recorded from a police car, and you go, what's wrong with you people?
Yeah.
Why are you chasing this guy at 150 miles an hour and going around? Just let him go.
Yeah,
let them go.
Yeah.
And you know, they were shoplifters.
You know, unless they're like going along and, like, you know, picking off pedestrians with a, you know, with a rifle, that's a different thing.
Yeah, it is. But you know, they're not. A whole lot of the time, they're not.
No, they're not.
Were speeding, or they ran a red light. Running a red light's dangerous. Yeah. But they didn't hit anybody, dude.
Or gee, they're high, you know.
Yeah.
I think that guy that's all high is going to be way less dangerous if he's going 40 miles an hour than he is going 140. Yeah, but we're going down a rabbit hole. But you know, hey,
I don't mind talking about this rabbit hole at all. Maybe we should just do one where we just baby boomers and our perspective, our age on the judicial system and all the ridiculousness that goes on with that, and judges and
well, there was something always ruining superhero movies for me. You know, like we were talking about destroying half the city, and I have to just shut that part of my brain down, or I can't enjoy them. Or even when I was reading comics, I was going, you know, if Superman had never shown up, you know, would Brainiac ever come try to blow the planet up against Superman? Or You know,
Would Lex
would
Luthor?
Lex be a productive citizen? I don't know.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm pretty sure Lex would have been a productive citizen. Actually, okay, I've got. So, is Underdog your nominee for the best Saturday morning cartoon show during the '60s and '70s?
Well, you know what? My favorite was probably Bugs Bunny, but that didn't really count because they were produced for to be shown in the movie theater. So to me, that doesn't count.
Well, but they did a great job of
Yeah,
the Bugs Bunny show, which was what it
yeah,
was called, that Overchild, just the
yeah.
lights.
And they showed all
This
those
is it.
theatrical shorts. You
They
know,
did a
there was
great
nothing.
job of integrating
Yeah,
it into an actual Saturday morning show with that little introduction, and plus all those Bugs Bunny cartoons were so brilliant.
well,
They Mel Blanc and Mel Blanc. How do you pronounce his name? Mel Blanc.
I'm not real sure. I've heard it both ways.
Yeah,
Blank
but
and Blanc.
hey, Kamala, you know. But the
I think Pink Panther was probably my favorite produced for TV cartoon.
I had that in my on my mind. The Pink Panther cartoon was pretty brilliant too. I just like some of these cartoons were, well, they've always been and they still are. A lot of
And here's a
cartoons.
suggestion to
Really,
look up on YouTube. It's my very favorite. It's called Pink Think. Pink. Pink
oh,
Think.
okay,
And it's on YouTube. And
okay,
it's, you may remember this one, and it's one of those early ones where it's really simple backgrounds, like black and white, and it's the little white guy with big nose, you know.
right.
He's torturing, and the guy's building a house, and he's painting it blue, and the Pink Panther's coming in behind him and painting pink over it, you know, and it's playing the Pink Panther, and it's just all these different things. Like he paints a room, he's all finished and happy, and goes out, and you see like a yard sprinkler, a water sprinkler come into the picture, and it just goes and does the pink paint everywhere, and he pulls it back. You know, when he comes back in, the whole room's pink. You know, that kind of stuff.
Well,
Great.
I have to say the quality of the cartoons, and they still are high quality cartoons. I mean, there's Bluey around now, which is as good as anything that's ever been produced. But the one thing that all great cartoons have in common is the music.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Great music. The Pink Panther, some of the best music. And you'd think all cartoonists would understand that, but no, they don't. When they tried to redo Bugs Bunny, the one thing they didn't understand was the music. They just had this little music, this silly little music playing in the background, doodly 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 doodly, and they got completely away. Yosemite Sam would come into the scene in this newer Bugs Bunny. We say newer; they were redone in I guess the '80s or '90s, and Yosemite Sam would be walking across a stage or walking across the desert floor, and in the background, and back in the old classic Bugs Bunny days, we'd be getting bum 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 with every one of his steps, and he'd stop. The music would stop. Dun, 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 dun. So they don't get it. Some of them don't.
No,
the good ones do. The bad ones don't. There's plenty of bad cartoons, and we suffered through them. I got to say, my nominee, and it had great music. George of the Jungle.
I have George of the Jungle down here.
And Super Chicken was one of the cartoons that went along with George in his half hour. When you find yourself in danger, when you're threatened by a stranger, when it looks like you will take a licking, there is someone waiting who will hurry up to rescue you. Just call for Super Chicken. I mean, you just, how could you? And if you're afraid, you'll have to overlook it. Oh, my God.
Lightning, roar of thunder, fighting those who rob or plunder.
Underdog, great theme song, great music.
I love Underdog.
Oh, man. I think I'm going to sneeze repeatedly here, and I'm going to try to prevent that if I can. So,
there's, I mentioned, like YouTube and stuff, which of course, our show's on, but there is a really cool channel that started recently over the air. I don't know, how many, I'm sure some of the people have used over the air antennas. I do sometimes. I stream, and I have a 150-mile radius antenna because I live in a big metro area, so I can pull in 70-something channels. But one of the air channels is called MeTV Tunes.
Yeah, I've read about that. I don't have it
and
on.
All it is cartoons. And I was looking at some of the lineup. because I wrote down some of the classics from stuff that that we're familiar with, and Bugs Bunny, which comes on like Saturday morning. It's on until like 9 o'clock. And then you got they show like Popeye and they show Bullwinkle, Underdog. Remember the Thunderbirds with the little marionette, Supercar, Magilla Gorilla,
Supercar's so old. It's in black. It's in black and white.
Yeah,
or at least some of the episodes are the early ones. And we haven't even talked about. We've mainly been talking about cartoons, but the Supercar's how I always started my Saturday morning. It came on at 6 o'clock. My mother hated me. 6 o'clock. You got up. Our mother hated me. We got up at 6. She didn't really hate me, but she did right then. She hated me. And we're up at 6 o'clock on Saturday. Instead of sleeping in, we're watching Supercar and the Mercury Man, Mike Mercury. And, oh, man. And then you just went on into your day with the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner Hour or whatever form the Warner Brothers show took. And but my nominee, for best is George of the Jungle because of all the other great cartoons. Super Chicken, Tom Slick, and all those great cartoons. And then the worst.
I wish I had looked at that producer that did George of the Jungle and some of those because it was the same guy.
Right.
And they always had the voiceover.
Oh yeah. It was very close to the vibe you got from Rocky and Bullwinkle, which is
it was the same. Oh gosh, what was his name? I can't remember.
Oh, you can look it up. I mean, people got that little thing in their pocket where they can look things up. So go ahead and do that.
Unfortunately, I'm using it right now. So
yeah, that's what I'm doing. So and I've stopped bringing my computer in because it was just distracting me when we were doing the show. I used to have my laptop sitting here, but I thought it's actually more fun just to kind of since we're doing Boomer stuff, we do it the Boomer way. We sit there and go, what was his name? Yeah, what was it? I know
what was that, man?
And usually I can't. It used to be so much fun wondering what something was, and then you would look for years. Then you'd stumble across. There it is. I found it. And now you can always find it. But what was the worst? The worst Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh, there's so many bad ones.
Yeah.
I think I've maybe wiped some of them from my memory because some of the later ones, the animation got so terrible. Later on in the 70s, they were just. I don't even think I want to remember them. I don't think they constitute even a waste of a mention.
I've gotten one. I've got one. Did you ever see, or was this before you talked, Milton the Monster?
Never saw that one.
Horrible theme song. It was the opening was always the guy was in his laboratory creating Milton, and he's pointing the tincture of tenderness, and he gets his elbow jostled by his sidekick. And he goes, whoops, too much. And he gives Milton too much sweetness. And Milton comes out and, hey, hi, I'm Milton, your brand new son. And he's got that. I did the perfect accent. I mean, I did a perfect imitation. I'm just telling you. I know you don't know.
Was his name Milton the Punchable Monster?
And the thing was, we had to watch it because at that particular moment on that Saturday morning, there was nothing else to watch except every other channel had cartoons that were just as bad as Milton the Monster. We had to watch it like we had a gun to our heads. But, you're there eating your cereal and you're enjoying your Saturday morning. You just have to kind of sit through Milton the Monster and, oops, too much. The tincture of tenderness got put in him. And I mean, I guess it was kind of true to Frankenstein, the novel. In the novel Frankenstein, the monster just had no humanity really, and well, he did have humanity, but it got warped in such a way because he didn't have anybody to love him, and so they did kind of a takeoff on that and made Milton such a lovable monster. As you can tell, I saw way more episodes than I wanted to.
Well, you were talking about cereal, and I wrote down some other stuff. There were actually, not only did we eat cereal on Saturday mornings, there were actually some cereals that had cartoon characters themselves that had little adventures in their commercials.
That's true. That's right. That's true.
One of which being Captain Crunch. They used to have him doing stuff. And because I was just reminded of, I saw some old Captain Crunch stuff I was looking up when I was trying to remember that he had like an enemy, and he did have an enemy. He was a pirate named
Yeah.
Jean Lafoot. And he was always barefooted. You know, he was a barefooted pirate. He was always trying to steal Captain Crunch and his crunch berries and all that. You know, and then you got Fruit Loops. You had, you know, Toucan Sam.
Had Sugar Bear. Bet your booty's green.
Yeah, I have Sugar Bear. And them super golden cream. It's
He
got
was
to
cool.
come with punch.
Yeah. Oh, he was. Sugar Bear was cool.
But he was Bing Crosby, man.
Yeah.
What are you
Bet
talking
your
about?
booty's
Boom,
green.
boom, boom.
I loved it when he said that. You know what was pretty bad? Well, let me go through a couple things. Now, you know what? I had a note up here. That the thing that I loved about 60s and 70s cartoons was they were not educational. It's like they intentionally tried to not teach you anything.
Yeah.
And yet they did. They were so good. They did. The good ones were so good they taught you, even though, you know, they taught you just to be careful and be, you know, have high production values when you did things. But there was nothing educational about them. Supercar, Spider-Man. You got your Spider-Man shirt on.
Spider-Man, yeah.
And they were
Spider-Man. Well, probably the greatest theme song of all time. Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Who doesn't know that one? They even use it in the movies.
I know, but it wasn't. It was terrible. The lyrics are awful. The song was catchy, but hey, if you got I've said this before about songs. If you got a bunch of people in a room, a bunch of no talent people in a room, and said, "Hey, write a theme song for Spider-Man," something very much akin to the Spider-Man theme song would emerge from that room of just regular people. They would just, well, let's sing Spider-Man, 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 you know, or something like that. I mean, it would, but hey, come on. Is he, what is it? Is he strong? Listen, Bud.
He's got radioactive blood.
Listen, Bud. He's got radioactive. Come on. They didn't spend a half second.
What's the best version of that song ever? You know, plenty of people have covered it, but nobody ever does it better than the Ramones. You know, those, you know, classic. Spider-Man.
Listen.
Here comes a Spider-Man.
But it was fun. We liked it because they took Spider-Man seriously.
Yeah.
They didn't. There was not much buffoonery other than the theme song, even though it was great. It was so bad it was good. You know,
you go back and watch some of that stuff. You can tell the moment that, like, from the first season. I think the first two seasons were kind of normal, and then Ralph Bakshi, that was famous for doing Fritz the Cat and all those other kind of dirty stuff. He took over and did the final year of Spider-Man, and it was like a freak show. And it was like all this weird psychedelic stuff going on in the background, and, you know, Spider-Man, instead of fighting villains, he would be fighting like some monster from planet Wow that wanted to, you know, steal all the salt from the earth. You know, all this weird stuff. You know, it looked like somebody had. It looked like it was some kind of exercise in, like, wanting people to, you know, like, maybe drop some hallucinogens and watch it or something. You know, it's kind of nuts. It was weird.
You know, I've got a note up here. I wrote dopamine, and maybe that's why people from our generation, not me, not you, but plenty of people from our generation got involved with drugs. Because when you're sitting there waiting for Saturday morning cartoons, you get that rush, the dopamine that is produced naturally in your body, not the unnatural dopamine. It just fills your head, and you get it now when you go back and find a show on YouTube that you remember from being a kid. The Jetsons.
Oh, I still watch the old Fantastic Four cartoons. On YouTube.
And you get that dopamine rush, and so I promise you, there were people a little older than us, like or a little older than me, that were, you know, maybe 17 or 18 years old when a lot of these shows, the Spider-Man show, were on. That sat there and got high as a kite and watched Spider-Man, enjoyed the heck out of it, and it probably.
Speaking of somebody who loved cartoons and Saturday morning cartoons, I don't think any famous person ever did more than Andy Kaufman.
Right.
Oh my God! I mean, that was half the stuff he did. Like the first time on the very first episode of Saturday Night Live, he stood there and lip synced to a Mighty Mouse record,
The Mighty Mouse
and
theme.
that's all he did. Just went
Right.
Here I come to save the day.
Oh, sure.
Stood there and got a sip of water. While I was playing.
Well, do you remember there was a controversy when they rebooted Mighty Mouse a few years after the original run?
Also done by Ralph Bakshi.
Right. Mighty Mouse
he
apparently
gets a lot
snorted
of references in it.
Right. He like snorted cocaine, or it looked like he did over in one of the scenes.
All kind of weird stuff. Yeah, he was. Bakshi was like really strange, man. Why they let him anywhere near children's programming, I'm not real sure.
I've got some theories, but
I got some theories
just saying,
that are pretty relevant to today. So
I got it. We're going to come back and talk about this. I've got so many shows that we probably deserve to be talked about. The Jetsons. I get an actual reaction when I see that little psychedelic opening to the Jetsons. That because I love the Jetsons. I thought the Jetsons was a great show. Still love it. Watch it now in reruns. They appear on
the Jetsons call half the stuff we do now.
Right. Well, the Jetsons, the whole series right now is on Plex TV, which you can stream. It's free. So if you stream, if you've got a Roku box, or any kind of streaming ability, which you do if you've got a television now, the Jetsons are on Plex TV, which you should be able to get access to. And it's just such a. Do you know the Jetsons? That was the first color program produced by ABC. They were on ABC.
No idea.
The first color program. Cool. And the color's so vibrant now. I mean, obviously they put a lot of money and work into it because it does not look faded out in the least. Everything's just sharp like the day it was originally produced, and it's really impressive to check it out. And
I have to do something since you did the Jetsons. Jetson, you're fired.
Didn't you recognize George Jetson's birthday on one of our episodes? I think you did.
I don't remember. Maybe I did.
Well, according to the timeline for the Jetsons,
we did talk about that. It was like the date of when we were doing a show or something, allegedly from the show. Yeah.
George Jetson, according to the timeline of the show, The Jetsons, George Jetson would be alive right now.
Yeah.
He would be alive in 2024. That's if you backdate everything from the date the Jetsons supposedly took place. George Jetson's alive now because he lived in the 21st century. Which we do too. It doesn't feel like
they made it where everything's centered around the TV, or computer.
Oh,
that's pretty much the way it was on the Jets. That's the way it is now. The only thing that I can think of that was on an episode that we don't do, we don't fly cars, but we're probably close to replacing actual football players with robots.
Well, they are kind of replaced if you've got the Madden video games.
Yeah,
I mean you can play.
You can
play robot football or
AI's getting so good they'll probably just start producing AI NFL games and won't even tell anybody. Is that like real people? They'll just pay them guys off, use their image. Oh yeah.
Us old guys be sitting around going, that guy looks a lot like Joe Montana that is starting for the 49ers.
It's Joe Montana.
Joe Montana, the actor's nephew, not. I'm looking at things you overlook. The Harlem Globetrotters, they actually had quite a little Saturday morning run. They had several versions.
Globetrotters.
Not one of the great cartoon shows, but it was on for a long time. And Alvin and the Chipmunks, which I guess was pretty. Alvin's been around a while, and he did have several Saturday morning runs.
Of course, Metal Art was in Curly with the only two real Globetrotters, depicted. The rest of them was kind of made up. Not Geese. They had Geese, Curly, and Metal Art were the only three actual real people they made cartoons
right, right.
for that one.
And then, you know, the thing that I found kind of funny when looking back over this, though, is I found several sites, information sites online that actually gave the lineups. And, you know, as the morning progressed, they started appealing more to the older kids that got up on Saturday morning, and you ended up
more
the morning.
Real people shows.
Right. Well, yeah, like American Bandstand was on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Several decades, and you know they're like, okay, the 14-year-olds are up now. Here we go at 12 o'clock. They can get up, wipe their eyes a little bit, and because you know you start to get 13, 14, you start staying up all night. I mean, if you don't have to go to school the next day, and so American Bandstand was part of it too, and a big part of it. I really identify with my memory of Saturday is American Bandstand, because you got older, you know, you really paid attention to what they were wearing and all that. But when you were 9 or 10, you paid attention because you just wanted to be a teenager so bad. You wanted to be that so bad, and so you watch that.
That's I don't know the history of this. Okay, now I don't know if this was something they started doing when I was a kid or if they did it for a long time, or whatever. But they used to run primetime specials like on Friday night. Each network did it, and it was hosted by different people, and they would do a preview of all the Saturday morning lineup, and they would show you a preview of like the new cartoons and stuff.
Right.
And they would run ads in the comics too of the Saturday morning lineup.
Oh yeah, you know? Like the back page of the comic would have an ad of the inside of the back, the cover.
Or a lot of times it was in the center, you know, where it would, you know,
right.
They'd spread, you know, and it had the whole lineup and had little illustrations. I always look forward to that.
Yeah, me too. It was a lot of. Well, you can find a lot of those on YouTube.
Yeah,
and I've noticed. Yeah. Well, they did that for the nighttime shows, the regular shows during the week as well. And I've noticed lately they've started putting together little previews for YouTube for lineups of like the present day lineups of the network.
You know, now there's really not a rollout of all the new shows, because all the shows like just kind of premiere when they feel like it, because I don't think they really have to, you know, because nobody really looks at September as the kickoff of TV season.
Right.
You know, they just don't do that anymore.
Well, you don't have as many episodes, and I guess we can lament that later, but it's you know, that all it's a fringe discussion to what we're talking about now. Ron, I'm looking over this. We may have to do this again next week, talk about Saturday morning part 2, because there's just a lot of stuff we're not going to be able to get to, and I've actually categorized some of these cartoons and these shows, and you're just going to have to talk about them more. But I did have a song of the week. Do you have a song of the week?
Let's see. We'll just go with the best cartoon theme song, which I'm going to go with the Pink Panther theme by
not bad.
Henry Mancini.
Yeah. I don't know if that was ever released as. I guess it was probably released as a single. Certainly,
I've got Henry Mancini's greatest hits, so you know it's released and it's on there. So
well, I've got an actual hit. We haven't even talked about these guys yet. When I look down and saw them, I go, "We're gonna have to do this another week because they deserve half of a show." But little song called "Sugar Sugar" by the Archies. Written by Jeff Berry and Andy Kim. Andy Kim was a recording artist of some success just by himself. And the lead singer, I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's Dante. It doesn't have an accent over it, but I think it's still probably Ron Dante. Ron Dante.
It is, yeah.
And hey, Ron, it was number 1 for 4 weeks in the U.S. and I think maybe 11 weeks in the U.K. And it was the number 1 song of the year in the UK and in the United States. So Sugar Sugar, and that was right in the meat of rock and roll, 1969.
Yeah, that was John Kirshner's Revenge on the Monkees, because
my gosh. And
because you know, he was like, "Well, I'm just not going to work with real people anymore because they you know will turn around and you know do whatever." But a cartoon now.
Yeah, I'm working with the Archies. Yeah, you can just change lead singers and still draw their Archie and Reggie and Veronica and Betty and Hot Dog and Jughead. Of course, Jughead was the drummer. But
of course he was.
And but it's a great song. It's people like it's a bubblegum song. It is, but isn't it the greatest bubblegum song ever
It's
written?
the best bubblegum, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a really good vocal by Ron Dante. The lead vocal is superb.
Oh, yeah. He had a good voice.
And you go back and listen to Sugar Sugar, and you think you can't help but think about the Archies. Of course, they played it on the cartoon show often, and they had other songs that were put together by Don Kirshner and various artists as the singers and players. But Sugar Sugar, I mean, it's worth a listen if you haven't listened to it in a while. Just go back and get the headphones on so you can really hear it. And the production value is great, and that the vocal is just really good. It turns into a real rock vocal. I've always enjoyed it, and I will tell anybody I enjoy Sugar Sugar. And I did find out though too that I thought I had a note and I don't. Who was it? So there was an R&B version of Sugar Sugar that got to be number 20 in the country, and
I'm not familiar with that.
Who sang Mustang Sally? We'll have to come up.
Was that Wilson Pickett?
Who?
Was it Wilson Pickett?
I think it was Wilson Pickett did a version of Sugar Sugar. I think that was who it was, and I looked that up, and it's pretty good too. But honestly, doesn't deviate that much from the original Sugar Sugar. I mean, he throws some soul punches in there, but the song itself is pretty close to the original. So anyway, that's my song of the week, and it epitomizes Saturday morning cartoons. And Ron, I say we do Saturday morning cartoons again next week because I've got a ton of notes left still here, and I think you probably got some.
I could do it again.
Yeah,
we can. I could dig up lots more stuff now that we were talking. I could.
Yeah,
more stuff.
I'll look up who did the vocal. Somehow now I'm having my doubts.
Yeah, we can maybe take a deeper dive into some of this stuff, maybe.
Oh, I think so. Listen, Boomer Bongo Boulevard has been fun again today, Ron, and I hope everybody appreciates it. But hey, go listen to those ghost stories.
Yes,
because that was a ghostly bongo you just heard.
All right. I'm going to stop the old recording here.
So we're not recording?